across Fairfax County. Tonight we're going to have an opportunity to highlight some wonderful work being done around science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics in two of our wonderful schools, Haley Elementary School and Lake Ann Elementary School. We have a whole host of folks who are going to be able to tell you about these wonderful programs, and I think you'll be delighted, inspired, and certainly very impressed. I believe Andrea Han, our STEAM education specialist, will introduce our film in just a moment. I would like to very briefly, unless you're going to do it, introduce some of the folks we have here tonight to talk about this. So if I miss anyone, Andrea, you're in charge of making sure I didn't miss anyone tonight. Of course, Scott Setter, who's on the front row here. Scott's our Technology and Engineering Education and STEAM Integration Program Manager, and I think he does the work of about 3 or 4 people. He's got lots of things going on. We're really impressed and appreciative of his work. Then we have 2 outstanding principals, Jamie Chianetta, who is the principal at Haley Elementary School right here on the front row. And then we have Jill Stewart, who's the principal at Lake Ann Elementary School. And we're happy to have them here tonight. And then they have some of their team with them. We have Janice Van, who's a STEAM resource teacher at Haley Elementary School. Excuse me. Holly, what was I saying? Haley, I'm sorry. Holly, thank you. Diane Overton, who's an advanced academics and STEAM resource teacher at Lake Ann Elementary School. And we also have Doug Rambo, who's a physicist, and he's a volunteer with the American Association of the Advancement of Science. And I find, and I know the board appreciates this, that when we have these wonderful programs going on in our schools, the volunteers really help us bring relevance to that. So we're very appreciative of our volunteers who help make that happen. We also have a wonderful student here with us today, Casey Banga. I hope I said your last name right. I'm really messing up on names tonight, so I'm sorry about that. And then I think we have Dawn Ray with us, who's helping us coordinate all the volunteers, which is also a very big job, so we thank him for being here. So, Andrea, again, if I messed up anything else, please correct me, and we're very happy to have you all here tonight. We're looking forward to hearing more about the great work that you have going on. And so, Andrea, I'll let you kind of tee up the video, if that's okay.
Good evening. As Dr. Garza said, my name is Andrea Hand. I'm a STEAM specialist for Fairfax County Public Schools. I'm here tonight to share with you a Spotlight on Learning presentation to highlight the work of volunteers from the American Academy for the Advancement of Science, also called AAAS. This organization works to promote and support STEM education and has over 170 volunteers in the greater Washington, D.C. area. The STEAM project team collaborates with AAAS to place retired and current practicing scientists and engineers in FCPS classrooms across all grade levels, as well as in after-school clubs. This goal of enriching students' STEAM education is made possible and enriched by this collaboration. Currently, we have initiated 30 teacher-volunteer partnerships. This reinforces real-world and career connections for students, as well as providing support for teachers. As career scientists and engineers, these volunteers have in-depth and unique content knowledge that can enrich learning experiences for both students and teachers. Tonight's video will highlight 2 partnerships between FCPS teachers and AAAS volunteers. So let's watch the video.
Today, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about relative density.
Hi, this is me, Casey, listening to my teacher, Miss Overton. She's teaching with Mr. Rambo, who's a real scientist known all over the country for his work in physics.
There are tanks on a submarine that hold water and hold air in them.
Mr. Rambo is a volunteer with the American Association for the Advancement of Science.
So that's how a submarine works.
30 AAAS volunteers have been placed in classrooms across FCPS to help students and teachers learn more about science and STEAM careers.
Did you guess appropriately?
Yeah. The scientists and engineers come to school at least once a week all year long.
So we're going to level this off.
That's much better.
Right?
At Haley Elementary School, 2nd graders are working with a chemical engineer, Kendra Shaluter.
Work better?
They're mixing chemicals together and seeing what happens.
You see how it's changed? Looks different, right?
We made Play-Doh today out of salt, water, and flour. Helps us learning how to be chemical engineers when we grow up.
By the end of the first year of STEAM Lab,
Kids were coming up to me all the time saying, I want to be an engineer, I want to be an architect, I want to do this, that. So showing them that these skills are not far-fetched, that they're accessible, that, you know, making Play-Doh is chemical engineering is very enlightening and empowering for these students.
Back at my school, Miss Overton works with Mr. Rambo before class to set up our lessons.
We can have them weigh these. That'll give them mass.
Okay. In the elementary school, we learn the pedagogy of teaching. You might have 1 or 2 classes in science, but that's about all we get. Doug will give me information and he'll explain it to me.
This guy.
So that guy. And then I will say back to him, so here's what you're telling me, and then I will put it in kid language, things that I know the kids will be able to understand, and that's a great combination.
There's a variety of struggles that I think schools have today to maintain a level of expertise where a kid will walk into class one day and say, Mr. Rambo, what is dark matter? And expect an answer. And that was a 3rd grader, real question. Once we had the conversation of, are we talking about Star Wars? Or are we talking about dark matter, as the scientists are exploring today? We had the conversation and gave him the 3-sentence answer for, this is why dark matter is important, this is what the scientists are doing. And I hope you understand that. And he was satisfied with the answer. It's important to do it the same way for every one of them.
Our physicist has added just tremendous amounts to our classroom experience.
So write down 100.
He can explain to the kids what relevance what we're learning in class has to the real world.
What kind of scientist would be interested in things in water? Okay, marine biologists, oceanographers.
The kids here are always engaged because Doug comes up with, well, hey, did you know that? And then he'll tell them something about how that science is being used in the real world. And all of a sudden they're like, wait, maybe we should learn about electromagnets because you just gave me 5 examples that I see in my regular day-to-day life. Where do you think this cherry tomato is going to land when we put it in the tube? Just find a neighbor.
It's amazing that what I'm learning is actually used in the real world. It makes me want to learn more about it.
Relative density.
Listening to my teacher, Miss Overton. She's teaching with Mr. Rambo, who's a real scientist known all over the country for his work in physics.
There are tanks on a submarine that hold water and hold
I think they thought we wanted to see more. The STEAM project is a collaborative instructional services department team. Our mission includes facilitating relationships with professionals to support authentic, hands-on experiences that will inspire and engage all students. We are excited about the impact that our collaboration with AAAS has had on students, teachers, and in building connections to community members. We look forward to their continued support in our mission of providing authentic learning experiences for students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's so great to bring some of the classroom here into the boardroom. We really appreciate this wonderful job. And I think we have some board members who would like to maybe ask questions and make comments, if that's okay. Ms.
Do you mind if I invite some of our friends? Casey, would you like to join us? Mr. Rambo, Ms. Van?
Did anyone else have something they wanted to say? Or no? Okay, all right. Ms. Darinette Koufax?
Yes, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and I have a comment, and then maybe I'll ask Casey a question. I met members of AAAS at a community event and was so impressed at the work that they do, and I'm so grateful that we have had this spotlight to enlighten everybody. This is an example, Mr. Press, of what you were talking about, this kind of amazing collaborative learning that is out there. Thank you so much to our volunteers. Thank you so much, sir, for volunteering your time and being part of it. You enhance and enrich our curriculum in great ways. Mr. Press also talked about wanting, this is something that we would love in all of our schools because we know how valuable you are, and it's just a matter of being able to do that. But I would like to, Casey, since you talked, just a quick question. What do you like best about this kind of learning? You stated it a little bit, but.
It's kind of like every time you go in and work with all, do all the fun experiments, you kind of learn something new that you might not expect to have learned, or figure something out that, you wouldn't think is as important as it really is. And that's
Right.
just fun.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, proud parents over there, Casey, for sharing him with us tonight.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Schultz, did you have something?
So, first of all, I want to know who narrated the video. Okay, so people who've been on the board for a while know that I'm not a fan of videos because I want us to use our money smartly. That was some smart money. That was very wise because you learned some stuff narrating it, didn't you? Was that cool? Was it cool to hear your voice? Did it sound different? It sounded higher. There's probably some scientific explanation for that. Two, I wanted to ask, how did you become a volunteer? Were you originally a parent at the school? Or?
Yes, I have 2 children, but they went through Loudoun County Public Schools. The program advertises its presence in a variety of different forums, and I think I spotted it in the Fairfax section of the Washington Post, and that brought me to Don and the program, and then subsequent to that to Lake Ann and to Mrs. Overton.
So I think any way that we can, because I want a physicist, I want a scientist, any way that we can advertise and reach out, we have lots of very interesting buildings where interesting stuff happens all around our county. And some of that has to be, I think, proactive to bring them into the schools. And then at some point, I'd love to come and have an experience in one of these schools, especially if you teach how you get bridges built, because I've always been fascinated how they get the pilings. That's always been a fascination of mine. But anyway, I want to thank you personally for dedicating your time, because you've gone above and beyond. You're not currently a parent in our system, and reaching out through either academic associations, professional associations, to get and populate more of you throughout the system would be a gem.
We'll take you up on your offer to publicize the program further. I think with very little publicity, we've managed to get quite a few volunteers into the school, and I think with a little bit of help, that number could grow.
Great. Mr. Press?
Thank you. I think this just really is a testament to the wonderful human capital we have in our county. I think that when we can capitalize on that and bring it in to our schools and use that to benefit our students, as Casey so articulately and wonderfully shared, and that is so impressive that you're able to come up here, because I remember I came up here for the first time and I was dead scared. I could not do it. So you are awesome. Thank you for being here. But I just wanted to say I think this really speaks to the wonderful human capital we have and the opportunities we have. And I think to the previous point, by publicizing this further, we can really empower student achievement. And I look forward to seeing how that progresses in the short and long term. Thank you.
Ms. McLaughlin?
Out of the mouth of babes, you echoed very much, Mr. Press, something that, in listening to tonight's presentation, Dr. Garza, I was also reflecting on the fact that in a county of 1 million people, highest per capita of college graduates, we do have subject matter experts in a whole host of academic areas. And my father-in-law alone, 40 years with the American Bankers Association, tremendous expert on finance. And I think about the retirees like my father-in-law, who still resides in Fairfax County. Casey captured it best. You have someone who comes in who is an expert in that field, and it makes it real. it makes it relate to everyday things that happen in your world, and it makes it exciting to then learn the concepts, because now you can tangibly understand why these topics matter. And so whether it's through the Fairfax County Foundation, whether it's through Jay Grant and our community outreach, but I do hope that we as a system can look at this as not just a wonderful model for increasing interest in STEAM and STEM, but really, truly in all areas and careers, because we have an opportunity to help shape the lives and the interests of young people like Casey, and it is through exposure. And Casey, I just want to thank you very much for coming here tonight on a school night and allowing all of us school board members to get really excited to see that beautiful smile on your face, and to know that everyone's efforts in this room to try and make your education meaningful, we're somehow succeeding in little bitty ways each day. So keep up the good work, and I hope you continue to be inspired, not just through your years in Fairfax, but throughout your life.
Ms. Strauss?
Thank you all, again, as everybody has said, for coming. And I'd also like to acknowledge that not only is it wonderful to have volunteers, such professional volunteers to come in and help, and young students with such presence. What also helps to make the STEAM program work is that we actually have central support people like Ms. Hand who come and help put this all together. And I know Scott Setter is our other program specialist that does STEAM. And this means that throughout the county we can take advantage of the good work of our volunteers. And in other parts of the county, we are doing STEAM through the arts, because I know you've met with some of the folks in McLean, and we've had STEAM through French. And the hands-on experience and the ideas and the ability to pull it all together. So, Dr. Garza, I want to thank you and ISD's leadership, because in order to really elevate and make the best use of the good work of people in individual schools, we need people who can help us be the leaven throughout the county so that we can use it in so many different ways. So thank you very much.
Ms. Palchik?
A lot has been said, and I want to thank all of you again. I also want to thank your teacher. I think you said something that's very clear. I started a reverse engineering club, but only because I had a physicist who could do the technical part, and I was able to work with him and make sure that we were at developmentally appropriate and reaching the kids and working together. I think AAAS is fabulous. I've only known it at the fellows level, so I'm so glad that we have so much skill, not just going to the PhD students in our country, but also at the elementary school level. As one of my favorite physicists, Richard Feynman, said, college is too late, high school is too late. We really have to start and get that spark going in STEAM at this age. So thank you. It's I think, an invaluable partnership. I know it's not always easy, it's new. The fact that you've piloted this is incredible, and I do hope you'll help all of us spread it to every school in our county. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll just add one thing. As the representative up here from Reston, it's great to see one of our stars from Lake Ann Elementary here. Thank you. You are representing all of Reston here tonight, and we're proud of you. And our new leadership at Lake Ann Elementary, it's good to see you. I will come out and say hi. All right, thank you all so very much for sharing with us tonight.